Greetings YouTube, Fuzzfinger here, once again bringing you Final Fantasy IV, and the plan for today is that we make our way through a very difficult actually dungeon, so hopefully we'll make it through together and come out the other side in one piece. If you enjoy watching, don't forget to hit the like button, and without any further waffle from me, let's get on with it. First things first, we're going to need to make our way back here, which is the Crystal Palace on the lunar surface. So you'll probably remember from the previous episode when we came here, not the previous episode in the series, but the episode when we actually came here, we have to make our way around with the lunar tunnels. So if you can't remember how to get back here, then go and watch episode 43, it's called Exploring the Moon in this series, and that's where I show you how to park the airship. You can see where that is on the map, and then how to make your way through the various cave systems here in order to return to the Crystal Palace. I don't want to tread old ground and show you the whole thing again though, because I'm sure many of you remember and wouldn't want to have to go through that. But that video is there for those of you that do need that help. So when you're ready, we're going to, or when I'm ready in this case, we're going to enter into the Crystal Palace. And before we do anything, we're going to heal up after our battles, getting back to this area. So just make sure that everybody's nice and cured. They are. So we'll step on the MP healing stone here. I think there's a HP one healing on the other side as well. But as long as you cure up, then that will be fine to use this one. And we're going to go and grab some augments. By the way, I was playing around with this counter kick that we set up for Cecil here in the last episode. And it's making really nice work of the enemy encounters, the random enemy encounters I've been going through. So if you're not using it, make sure you have counter and also have kick, but have kick at the top of your battle commands, because this is the one that's going to be countered when an enemy attacks. And keep attack on auto battle command, so he'll still use that when you're in auto battle, but we'll still counter with kick, of course. Right then, so back in the Crystal Palace, we're going to go and look. Here we can see Fuse Sawyer has left his augments for us. How many you see depends on what it is that you gave him. So either way, you're going to get at least one, but you can get potentially three. So let's go ahead and loot these. The Phoenix augment is very, very nice. We'll talk about that in a moment. As is Omnicasting. And the Bless augment. So very, very good stuff there. Right then, so let's have a look at what some of these are going to do for us. If we just go to the inventory here, we got Omnicasting, we got Bless, and we got Phoenix. I believe Bless is one that you're going to get anyway, so even if you didn't give him anything, you'll always find Bless here. But Phoenix and Omnicasting do depend on having given him other augments, which as long as you've been following along with the walkthrough I've been providing, then you'll have these as well. So Phoenix is probably the best augment that we've just collected here, and what this does is the character you give it to, when they die, as in when they're knocked out, you know, so their health goes red at 0, they're going to resurrect every other dead party member. And as an extra bonus, if they're on full MP when they die, they're going to resurrect every party member with full health. A very, very nice ability, which means we're going to have to think about who we want to give it to. Now, if we look at, let's just go ahead and select it. If we look at our party members, we want to give it, you might think, oh, we'll give it to Rosa, she's the healer, she wants to be resurrecting people. No, you don't. It's very likely that Rosa is not going to be dying with full MP. She's probably been curing people, buffing people. So while her death is going to resurrect everyone, they'll be resurrected without full health, and your party won't have a healer at that point because Rosa has died. Instead, I recommend giving it to Cain. And the reason for that is Cain doesn't use his MP. So whatever you do in battle, he's going to be full MP all the time. So when he dies, he's going to resurrect the other party members that are dead. And you're not going to be left without a healer, because if Rosa's died, then she's going to be resurrected as well. So it makes sense, in my opinion, to give this to Kane. We'll go ahead and do that now. And Omnicasting here, we're going to set that up in a moment, don't worry. Right, so Omnicasting, which basically allows you to cast extra magic such as Haste and Reflect, Raise, Arise. Important magics which you can normally only cast, you know, one at a time on single people, you can now cast on the entire party at once. So that makes sense to give to Rosa, so that we can, for example, cast Haste on the entire party. Bless, if you want to give Bless to anyone, it's not an ability you're going to be using a lot. You can just give it to anyone, really. I'm going to give it to Edge. The way I understand it is that Edge can basically cast Bless quite quickly because he's got a high speed stat, and then he can continue on with his normal attacking routine, but you probably won't be using it all that much anyway. Right, let's just set those abilities up then, shall we, that we've just been teaching our characters here. So first of all, we'll go to Kane, who we've just given the Phoenix ability to. And his main attack at this point now is going to be by casting Jump. So we're going to replace his attack ability, and we're going to give him the Phoenix instead. And we're going to keep his auto battle command set to attack, so that when we're on auto battle he will still attack as normal. We just won't be able to select attack in battle, which we'll never really have any use of anyway now, because we'll just be using the jump command if we were controlling Kane manually. Similar thing really with Rosa. We're going to get rid of her attack ability and give her Omnicasting. See, it targets all enemies or allies with any spell, so particularly useful ability, as I was saying. And finally, we gave Bless to Edge. And if you want to use it, you'll probably just want to replace Steel with it, to be honest. So I'll throw that on him now. And before going any further, because we've just been playing around with those augments, it's probably a good idea at this point just to pop back out of the dungeon and save again. The next section can be a bit of a challenge, and if we do die, or wipe, at least this save will mean our augments are already set up and we're good to go. Back in the crystal room here, we can see the stairs at the very end of the room, so we're going to be heading over to them. They're going to bring us into another room where we can actually examine the 8 crystals. We can actually talk to them if we want to. And they have bits of information, but nothing that we actually need to really read. Bit of lore, if you like. When you're ready, head to this, what looks like an MP restoring square, but it's actually a teleporter. And now we're in a dungeon known as the Lunar Subterrane, and the Lunar Subterrane is actually a difficult dungeon, and what makes it even more difficult is that the save point is not until much later on. So at any time we're going to wipe, then we're going to have to replay a lot of the game once more, a lot of the dungeon rather. So if you're really struggling at any point, you might want to just teleport out, save up to keep the experience of the items you've collected, and then you know, head back in, and at least that time you won't have as much exploring to do, because hopefully you've gone through a lot of the map exploration. On this initial floor we're going to be fighting the enemies we've already been fighting, which are the Dark Sages and the Moon Maidens. So it's the same kind of ritual for them. Just make sure that you toad the Dark Sages if you're planning on fighting them, since they are of course going to be quite challenging, especially if they spawn in groups of 3, as they have done here. So I'm going to try and escape from this battle. I'm going to probably keep auto battle off in most instances. 3 Dark Sages is just asking for trouble, quite frankly. So just make sure you keep Cecil's health up in between fights, of course. Make sure we've explored this starting area here. And I believe there's a hidden path around here as well. So, oh, there it is. Look, there's the hidden path. So it's almost directly parallel to where we actually enter this area. So make sure we head across here. And if we head up north, we can make our way to this next part of the map here, which goes over to the west hand side. Just make sure you explore as you go so you don't have to backtrack later on if you've missed any parts. Eventually we're going to find a chest, I believe. Although as you can see, it's quite a large area this is. We explored. Make sure you heal up before opening the chest. No surprises, there's going to be an enemy encounter for us to face off as we do. And it's going to be an armoured construct enemy. So for this boss, we're going to want to attack him, obviously, with physical attacks, whilst also hitting him with thunder if at all possible. So Thunder Guard works great. And then just use Rosa to keep him alive. To keep the party alive. Did I say get the boss alive? That wouldn't be very wise. Go for a couple of cures here. Kick is a very nice ability, as you can see. Grab our 20k XP, I won't mind if I do. And that black garb that we just looted is something that Edge can make use of. So we'll go ahead and equip that. Look at that stat boost. I mean, look at his evasion boost from that. Whoa. That's what I like to see. Yeah, we'll keep everything else that we have, though, equipped. Make sure all of this is mapped out, since it's easy to miss some of those sections there. And then we are going to have to make our way all the way back to the entrance, unfortunately. If you don't want to run back, you can actually teleport out the dungeon and then just make your way back to the crystal area. I did in fact just pop back out to the entrance, mainly to heal up at the MP square and to save. So that's 10-15 minutes work that we won't have to repeat, should the worst come to the worst. And once you're back at the entrance, whether you've teleported out and walked back in or whether you've just ran back through the passageway, we're going to be looking for another similar secret exit over to the east here. Don't worry about exploring the whole map at the moment. Down south, where you can see we haven't been, we'll be coming back here a little bit later on to do that section. Anyhow, there's another teleporter here which will take us to the next level. Right, so well, it actually teleports us across the other side where there's some stairs that take us to the next level. So this is B2 now of the dungeon. And we're going to be getting some new enemy encounters here known as the Blue Dragons. So we'll also be encountering some of our old dragon friends. So we want to make sure, if you remember, that we cast stop on these as quickly as possible, really, I guess. And as always, we want to keep everybody healed up. Where's Kurajar go? There it is. Just got interrupted by the spell cast. So this is the same fight as we've encountered before anyhow. So these are battles that I do recommend you fight just because of the amount of experience that they give. And they're not that challenging so long as you immobilise the enemies. Just make sure that everybody's obviously healed up after every encounter here, because you're going to be wanting to go into new fights with full hit points more than anything. It does help with Rosa having that HP plus 50% augment as well, of course. So as for some of the other dragons that we might encounter, well, there's bone dragons which can counter your attacks with fire, which is an AoE attack, but they're also weak to stop. And also there are blue dragons, so just keep an eye out for those as well, basically. Make sure you've mapped out this initial area. There's a chest there, but we can't grab it from this side. Right then, so this is the Armoured Fiend, and they have a very strong flamethrower attack. The first thing we're going to really want to do... Oh, he's not run away, but it's instead, we want to cast Slow. And we'll protect first of all against our physical defences, or against his physical attacks rather. And Thunder is our friend in this encounter. And as always, just stay on top of health, so just especially with his counter attacks. I'll generally keep a bless up on the slightly longer encounters, just to make sure our MP goes all the further. Not a very pleasant counter attack, as you can see, and here comes that AoE flamethrower. Does Cecil die? No, he doesn't, so let's get some Kurajar action going. Oh dear. Yes, as you can see, he hurts. Going to defend on Cecil for a moment because we want to make sure everyone's healed before he attacks. So this guy is basically helped by casting Slow, but his status attacks really, his flamethrower attacks rather, is really what we have to try and avoid here. So we'll go for an Arise on Rydia and then a nice big fat heal on everybody, which I think is going to be needed. And hopefully we can avoid some of his other attacks before then as well. Cecil's only got 1100. Oh, this is looking bad. Oh good, he didn't do it as an AoE ability then. Okay, let's jump back into the attacks here. Literally, I guess. And I'm hoping we'll be able to get a nice Kurajar off on... sorry, Thundergar off even on Rydia. Or from Rydia on the enemy. So this is probably the hardest Armoured Fiend type enemy that we've fought up until this point, isn't it? And as you can see, he likes to finish with Destructs, which is not a good thing because we don't actually get experience then. Feel like I'm completely wasting my time with that fight, but hey, there we go. Right, so the only other enemy that I need to explain to you is the Blue Dragon, which we haven't yet encountered. So make sure you're healed because you're going to fight 2 Dark Sages at this point, along with a Moon Maideness. So get towed up as quickly as possible. Oh, I got those the wrong way. Oh dear, I got those the wrong way round. Get towed onto the Dark Sage. Oh no, did I go it the right way round? No! Why am I doing things in such the wrong order here? It's really annoying me. Right, what we need to do is Arise onto, who was it who died? Cecil. And I guess a nice Kurajar on everybody else, Kurajar even. And then we'll just go for... That embrace can be nasty because it's turning into stone. Go for auto battle to finish these off. Don't forget this is a fixed encounter, so don't bother trying to run away. You'll be trying to do that all day. Okay, I'm not going to bother equipping that for now, but we are going to heal up, of course. And then we're just going to continue on around here. We haven't yet encountered the blue dragons, have we? Maybe we should do that just so I can show it to you, because it doesn't spawn on the next floor. We will be back here later. Okay, so turn auto battle off. First thing you're going to do is dual cast. And you're going to want to dual cast Berserk on this thing, which basically nullifies its dangerous attacks. And then Blink onto Cecil. And we need to get rid of this crap that he's put on him. And then after that we just need to, well, we can actually try and get Rydia here. What's Rydia doing? Oh yeah, she's healing him. Oh boy, this could be bad. We can actually get him stopped, you see. So, since he's going to die in a moment, stop isn't something that is going to be guaranteed to work, but it might do. So let's hope for a little bit of luck here. And we got it. Ah, boy, we've actually not got enough MP. Come on, hurry up with that dry ether, please. So we're going to go for a rise. And this guy's going to probably be breaking out of stock shortly, so we'll go for Blink as well. We can't do Blink, apparently, so we'll go for Haste instead. Who should we do Haste on, though? I guess Kane. Kane can cast a Cry. And then we'll just go ahead and do some auto battle while it starts trying to get some damage in. Just have everyone attacking here. When his thingy wears off, his stop, you want to keep Blink up on Cecil basically. If it wears off, it might not. All these misses are so annoying. Down he goes, wonderful. So that's the blue dragon anyway. Right then, at that point, we're going to head into the teleporter area. And this takes us over here. And if we go south, make sure you get that little bit there, and this bit here, then there'll be another blue dragon. Wonderful. Let's turn auto battle off and make sure I get this right this time. Just got an achievement actually for levelling Cecil up as a paladin to 70. Which I guess is pretty nice, isn't it? Oh, wonderful. And we'll head down the stairs, and this will take us to the new area known as B3, and we're back to encountering Dark Sages and Moon Maidens in the same combinations that we explored them on the first basement level, or B1. So we're going to head north once we've explored the opening region here, and as you can see it looks a bit like a dead end. But there is a platform here. But don't click on it immediately, because we just need to do a tad bit of preparation. First thing we're going to do, you're probably using the Excalibur on Cecil, Again, if you've been following along with the walkthrough, I did show you how to get that. We're going to temporarily equip Cecil with a defender instead. And also, the other thing we're going to do is head down to Cecil on his abilities list and just temporarily replace kick with attack. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and give Rydia the fairy rod. And one final thing is make sure that Rosa's MP is nicely stocked up. If like me, it isn't, you'll probably be running it out a little bit at this point. Just cast some ethers or dry ethers on her. And before we do anything else, the other thing we need to do is cast float. If you haven't guessed, we have got a boss fight which we're about to engage with. So it's important that we just prepare before we do that. And you can see there's a katana here. We're going to go ahead and engage with it at this point. Now this guy likes to counter attack with pretty much everything you do to him, which is really frustrating. Kane's up first, we're going to go ahead and cry. Rosa next, we're going to dual cast Blink and Slow. Blink on Cecil since he'll be taking the damage. And we'll try and slow this fella down a bit. See how that works out. Rydia is going to be a big damaging thingy, so we're going to be summoning Bahamut with her over and over. And we're also going to want to basically cast Haste onto Rydia as well. So we're going to go ahead and jump here, we're going to risk it. He will cast Quake, which is his counter-attack for this summon, but that's why I suggested that we cast Float on our party at this point. Oh no, actually I'm going to just not do that. There's the attack that we spoke about. What we do want to do is probably cast Haste. We can target that on every one of them. We only really need to cast it on Rydia at this point. And I guess we'll go ahead and re-blink Cecil here because it has seemingly run out. And we'll keep that Bahamut coming in nicely. And that's pretty much all we need to do. As long as we don't hit him with physical attacks, then we're laughing really to the end of this fight. There comes that pointless earthquake. Rosa again just needs to keep Blink up on Cecil. I guess he can have a bit of a cure as well, can't he? Maelstrom, which is something he does every 6 moves, is pretty nasty. Can't do much about that, unfortunately, apart from heal through it. I did forget to mention that, but there it is. It doesn't look like we need to recast Blink at this point, so let's go for a double whammy on Cures. And then one more Bahamut should do the trick here and finish this fella off. And if it does, it'll also look like we'll be nicely cured up then. Although it's not going to matter too much, because we're going to be teleporting out after this encounter to heal up and save up. And there he goes. That was the White Dragon, 33,000 health. should give us a nice 26 or 27k experience to each party member. Ah, 39, I was off on that. Oh, it's because we've got the thingy, haven't we? XP augment thing. So we'll get some nice levels from that encounter. And there's the Murasame, which is our reward. So it is worth coming down this section just to grab that. Even though it's technically optional, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that, but not to worry. We're going to go ahead and equip that new weapon onto Edge here. As you can see, nice boost to his stats. And we're going to go ahead as well and replace Cecil's Defender back with his Excalibur. And also we did mess around with his... Before we do the augment, we'll just change Rydia's Fairy Rod back to her whip. And then we did just mess around with his augment, so we'll go ahead and just whip that back to kick there. Right then, so at this point we are going to want to just head back out. So we're going to go the correct way this time in this dungeon from B1. The correct way is in the way we need to go. But before I save, I am just going to heal up here. So we still haven't encountered the save point for this dungeon. But I'll tell you what, folks, I think that's probably a good point to exit the episode. So we've made some good progress in the dungeon we're currently exploring, and this is a good opportunity to save, as I say. So then we're going to head back to B1 in the next episode and make our way down south, if you remember the point we didn't explore. So do come back and join me for that, and hopefully we'll get things finished off with this dungeon next time. But thanks for joining me today, come back soon, and until then guys, have fun.